Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the Ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
George Carlin was way ahead of his time when he said this. Governments don't want an intelligent population because people who can think critically can't be ruled. They want a public just smart enough to pay taxes and dumb enough to keep voting and electing corrupt politicians. Think about it. True. Good morning. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America, followed by a patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance. Come on, patriots, where are you? And a good morning to you and yours. I'm Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch, and of course brought to you by our major sponsor that we absolutely think the most of. They are phenomenal at what they do to serve you. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations. You be sure and stop in and see them today, along with some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Let's go to the phone line right now and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Well, good morning, sir. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Way to go, Wheels. Appreciate it. And right now it's time for the weather, brought to you by K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 west of Hebron with Roger and the crew. Right there. You couldn't miss them if you wanted to. Burley Paul Highway. Very, very obvious, with all the best tools and equipment for any construction project, whatever project you need. Have tools. They've got the best. All your gardening tools, your lawn equipment, everything. I'm telling you, rototillers, mowers, you name it, it's all there at K&R Rental. Not sure what you need for various situations? Call them and ask, 678-3122. Right now, here's the weather.
Expect some precipitation in the forecast for the next couple of days. And for today, that's not going to be any different. Mostly cloudy skies is in the weather. And then we are expecting scattered rain showers and thunderstorms by this afternoon. Some of those storms could produce gusty winds of about 30 miles an hour, but steady winds out of the south-southeast at about 10 miles an hour. We are expecting a high of 72. Tonight, those showers will continue with a low of 41. And then, of course, carry over for tomorrow. Expecting a high of 54. Rain showers likely for tomorrow night with a low of 37. Maybe by Saturday we'll see a little bit of sunshine. Calls for mostly sunny skies, but a chance of thunderstorms, and we are expecting a high of 61. And then for Sunday, 40 to 70% chance of showers, and expecting a high of 58.
Wow.
That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Wow. It's going to get a lot cooler, too. Weather forecast brought to you by K&R Rental. 256 South, 600 west of Hebron. Roger and the crew, good morning to you. Right there on the Burley Paul Highway. Again, I want to reiterate, if you have questions about what you need, call them. 678-3122, K&R Rental. Merv May, come on in here. Let's sell some cattle.
Steer calves, they're here to get all of 31, 1.5, 31, 1.5, and 32, 2.5.
Oh, that's the chant of the world's best doggone auctioneer. I could listen to him all day long. Burley Livestock Sale Yard, Merv May, Cade Rogge, and Lance Udy. You better believe it, at 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley, the sale that works for you. 10:30 this morning, starting time for the big sale at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard. Number to call for cattle cattle consignments and sale information, 678-9411. I know that Brackenberry and Gibby out of Declo is going to be bringing in 260 head of mixed cattle weighing 5 to 550 pounds, ripping good cattle. Moj Brody over to Cary, 90 head of mixed cattle weighing about 600 pounds. Butcher cows, they know coming in from Acme Dairy, Antelope Hills Dairy, Funk Dairy, and of course, a great trailer line run. 10:30 is the starting time, as I bit my tongue twice, at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley, 678-9411, the sale that works for you. Right now, Merv, let's sell those steers.
All right, a good set of steer calves there, here to get $31, 1.5, 31, 1.5, and 32, 2.5, 3.5, 134, 4.5, 5.5, 5.5, 130, 550, 135, and $7.35. Zeb Bell, get the bottom again.
Merv, thank you very much. I have an announcement I want to make regarding this program in just a minute, so stay tuned for that. Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. They're open 7:30 to 5 Monday through Friday, and literally all your heating, cooling, and electrical needs. They are good and have been for over 6 decades of serving you. The very best people, the very best of the products, the very best of service from Ramsey Heating and Electric, 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. They open up early in the morning at 7:30 to 5 Monday through Friday. Number to call 678-0459, Ramsey Heating and Electric. Oh, and by the way, next week on Thursday the 23rd, Lunch Bunch will take place at Denny's Restaurant. America's Diner. You know, Thomas and his staff have been so outstanding as hosts and being so helpful and everything. Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley, and new menu choices. Just go in and look at that menu, and then you've got the tough job of figuring out what you want. Man, it's all good. Absolutely. Stop in and see them today. Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley, and 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. The home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch, and we're going to be over there next Thursday on the 23rd. Absolutely. Have an announcement I want to make, and then I've got another statement I want to make too this morning. There will be, and there are going to be, some changes on this program, and as a matter of fact, beginning on May 30th, Thursday, May 30th, and then alternate Thursdays after that, Sharon Wilmot will host Zeb at the Ranch. And she's going to call her segment of it on Thursdays. Zeb at the Ranch, Sharon sitting around the ranch house table. And we're going to have the same segments, but she's going to add some of her own people and some of her own thoughts to that on alternate Thursdays. Now, I'm not going to go into and explain why we're doing this in its entirety, other than I am just going to say that Deanne and I need, during the course of the summer, a little extra day every now and then to get some things done. And I'm not going to elaborate on that. That's for personal reasons. And the program segments, as I said, will remain the same. And Sharon, of course, has done an outstanding job for many, many years on our program as a sit-in host for me, as does Gina Jamison. I mean, those two gals, can't replace them. Don't want to replace them. Absolutely. But it's going to start on May 30th next week, and I really appreciate Sharon helping us out on Zeb at the Ranch on alternate Thursdays starting on May 30th. There you go. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. We're going to be talking to them a little bit later on this morning at 9:17. Outstanding segment that they're going to do every other week on our show, explaining, I mean, really explaining right down to the gnat's eyebrow what they do, how they do it, and how they can help you. Absolutely. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. The number to call for an appointment to let them get rid of all the aching and the paining that you have. I'll tell you what, they can help you get back to being you. 678-1191. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, absolutely the best. All right, calls are welcome and appreciated at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. One other topic that this really saddens me this morning. Anytime on this show that I talk about a friend that is gone, it absolutely hurts. Idaho Fish and Game officer Doug McGargle was killed Tuesday afternoon in a car-truck crash on Interstate 84. And I want to just remember Doug for all the fun and the laughs and the jokes and the kidding with each other. I really enjoyed his humor. He was the fish specialist for the Idaho Fish and Game, and we had joked on numerous occasions about going ice fishing and just had a good time. This is a tragedy, and I want his family to know how much he will be missed. I'll miss him, Doug McGargle, and believe me, when I say that he and his family are in our prayers, they are. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Please, I'd like to hear from you. Want to remind you that right now, man, I'll tell you what, the door's open and all the irrigation is going on. And if you need help with your irrigation system, you need repairs done, whatever you need, why don't you talk to the pros that can really help you? And that's Rain for Rent at 134 South 600 West of Paul. Number to call, 438-5065. That number again, 438-5065. Jake and the rest of the crew, Reinke Diamond Dealer, Platinum Plus certified pivot techs, and dedicated sales and service staff that know how to better serve you and your irrigation needs. I urge you to call 438-5065. Rain for Rent. They're waiting to serve you. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. And now there are 23 candidates running for president on the Democratic ticket. And I'll tell you what, this guy is the squirrel of all of them, de Blasio.
Well,
guy in New York that tells you how big a soda you can drink.
Yeah. Let me just jump in here and say that it's a joke. It's nothing more than a pathetic joke. Out of the 23, 24, 96, 117, whatever number of nominees possibly on the Democratic ticket, Bill de Blasio is probably the least that would garner any favoritism with the American public. Do you realize, and I did a little checking on this morning to make sure that I was right, 76% of New Yorkers, listen to this now, 76% of New Yorkers can't stand the man, and they call him a laughing clown. How in the world would he ever get elected as president?
I don't know, but, this summer you don't even need to go to a circus. We'll wait for the Democratic debate.
Honestly, it's amazing, Keith. What you're just saying is so true. 23 people, maybe soon to be 24. I know another one that's lurking in the woods right now. But this is a great circus act because look at if you could get all them in a clown car.
Well, I wonder if you could get even half of them to agree with one another. No, there's no camaraderie. Yeah, that works well for de Blasio because he is a communist.
Well, Bill de Blasio, very seldom, I've never said that Kamala Harris is dumb. I've never said that Bernie Sanders is dumb. I don't like their policies. I absolutely disdain them for their socialistic values and attitudes. I've never said that Joe Biden is dumb. But in Bill de Blasio's case, I'm going to make an exception right now on this May 16th. Bill de Blasio is dumb. I mean, this man is not very smart. And some of the things that he does or doesn't do, he leads, and I hate to use that word leads, the filthiest city, and he's got some of the dumbest ideas, and he's in love with himself. I mean, this man totally is a joke.
Well, he makes an idiot look good to us.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I got to be honest with you. I don't like any of the Democrats. I don't like any of their philosophy. I don't like any of their personalities. But as much as I despise the Democrats that are running because of lack of talent, I'd put all other 22 ahead of de Blasio.
Yeah, and we can, but look forward to all the excitement we're going to see on TV, like Beto getting a haircut.
Oh, come on, Keith. Why did you spoil my day by mentioning that? How dare you?
Well, no, I have to get you stirred up because you're at your best.
I thought Beto O'Rourke had kind of taken his fingernails and scraped the scum off the bottom of the barrel when he showed himself at the dentist. But when he talked to the cameraman about going in while he's taking a haircut and getting a haircut and trimming the hair growing out of his ears, honest to goodness, Keith, I couldn't handle it. I switched on another network and I thought, whoa, I don't want anything to do with that.
Like I say, the circus is coming to town.
You've got it. Hey, thank you for all the great stimulation and making me mad this morning. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. Talk to you later. Thank you.
Yeah.
Ark Animal Hospital with Dr. Bill and the whole crew at 750 21st Street near Connection Credit Union in Heyburn. Holy smokes. If you're going to have animals, take care of them. Make sure they stay healthy. Well, that's what Ark Animal Hospital is there for. They want to remind you that now is the time to get your puppies vaccinated. And then they need boosters every 30 days. Don't forget that. And it's also a great time to be aware and be cognizant of all the ticks and the flies out there. Hey, if you got animals, take care of it. And them. They can help at Ark Animal Hospital in Heyburn. And the number to call, Dr. Bill and the crew, 678-1177, where they do have the warm hearts for the cold noses. Holy smokes. When I heard this next story I'm about ready to share with you last night, my wife and I looked at each other and thought, how in the world could the greatest country in the world be put in this kind of a position? And I'm going to explain what I'm talking about in just a moment. I want you to remember that Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox are all teamed up together for your home comfort systems. Oh, yeah. Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox, and they're offering up to $1,700 in rebates on a new comfort system. Don't forget to call them at 678-0459 or visit them online at ramseysonline.com. Terms and conditions apply. See the dealer for details at Ramsey Heating and Electric. All right, now listen to this very, very carefully. 29%, only 29% of our young people are at all eligible to serve America. Now think about that. Only 29%. Why, you say? Why? Well, the answers are, number one, they're too fat. They're obese. Number two, they're too dumb. They don't have a high school diploma. And number three, they've got criminal records. 71% of our younger generation derelicts. Now, I want to stop right there. I believe that right here in this area, we've got some of the creme de la creme of the 29%. But across the board, 71% of our young people are not eligible to serve their country or be a part of serving our country because they're too fat or too dumb or with criminal records. And if that sounds blunt, that's the truth. Too much excess. And boy, I hope they're listening out there in radio land across the board, whether we're being picked up in Jacksonville, Florida, or Atlanta, Georgia, Houston, Texas, I don't care. There's too much excess for our younger generation. Too much excess, and they're being given and provided everything. And I'm going to be very honest with you, I think they're way too coddled. Am I saying everybody? No. So don't think that. And don't point your finger at me and say, oh, they're not all that way. I just said that. They're not all that way. But when you look at 71% that would not be eligible because they're too fat, too overweight, too obese, and they don't have a high school diploma because they didn't take the time and the effort to be self-responsible to learn and graduate, and then they've got criminal records, my gosh, what kind of a country are we bringing on? And they're too lazy with no work ethic. Again, not all of them. But out of the 100%, 29% are the only ones that would be eligible. 29% are the only ones that have any self-motivation and drive and self-responsibility. Holy cow. Throw the social media away. You know, I couldn't care less who's offended by this, or if we have any sponsors on other parts of the program for your cell phones and all the social media. It's been the ruination of these kids. Plus the fact that parents don't make their kids do anything anymore. As far as chores, you take a farm family right now today, this minute. I absolutely stand behind the rural atmosphere and the rural lifestyle because these kids know they've got to get up in the morning before they go to school, get the chores done, regardless of what kind of an operation it is, a dairy, beef operation, whatever, I don't care. Get the job done. Learn responsibility. But when you look at 71% of our younger generation not eligible to provide service to America because they're too heavy and fat and lazy, or they don't have a high school diploma, and then they've got criminal records, we've got trouble in River City, let me tell you. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. Come on, don't weaken on me. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While I am waiting for your call that I know is coming in, I'll bet you any money somebody's going to say, well, they're not all that way. I said that. Please give me a call. Dino Septic Service. Absolutely fitting that this ad should fall behind that story. Dino Septic Service. Septic tanks pumped. Liquid waste removal, septic tanks and drain fields installed, backhoe service. These people are so good. They do a job that you and I don't want to do. Absolutely. And they do it with a big smile on their face. And they've recently expanded their business to better serve more of the Magic Valley. Wow. Call them today. Dino Septic Service at 436-6526 or in Burley 678-1638. They pull in the yard with a great big truck that says smells cargo on the way. They're there to serve you. Call them. Dino's Septic Service. Wow. Evidently, I either made everybody mad or you don't have an opinion on that. You better give me a call. I mean, it's worrisome. It is really worrisome about what we're going to do for people, young people, to get involved in the service to their country. It's going to be hard to find somebody that qualifies. They're either going to be roly-poly, way over obese, or not real bright because they don't have a high school diploma, or they're in jail. Holy smokes. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Please give me a call. Another story. I get so sick and tired of these loons that are hell-bent on saying that we've only got 12 years. Holy moly, we're going to burn up. Climate change is just killing us. Why, look at the atmosphere. We're on fire. Now, let me just take a look here at my weather forecast. And I see the temperatures for those of us that are burning up, by the way. I just want to say that the high predicted for Friday is 48 degrees. The high on Saturday, 61. The high on Sunday, 53. Monday next week, rain and 53. And they stay in the 50s and the 60s all through the next 10-day period. Oh, yeah, we are burning up. And I want to talk a little bit more about how they have skewed science in just a minute. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Mr. Bell. You know, as far as our young people going into the military, we have several of our graduating classes in Burley and Rupert in the Minnetonka area who have enlisted knowing that they could go to war and be maimed and crippled. So, you know, I don't really worry too much about that report.
No, I think you're wrong there. I'm going to jump in on you, and I think it's a great, grave concern. I think you're absolutely wrong, Donna, and you're one of my dearest friends. When you look at 71%, that is an enormously scary number.
It is in a way, but, you know, we have, like I said, we have a lot of young people who are graduating that are going in right out of high school.
Yeah, but wait a minute, Donna, you're looking at small numbers, whether it's from Minico or Oakley or wherever. You're looking at small numbers from small schools in a rural state of Idaho, and you're not looking at the entire picture. You're not looking at what's happening across the board, California, Wisconsin, Illinois, Pennsylvania, New York. And when these reports come out and show 71% are ineligible, that's devastatingly dangerous.
Well, I agree somewhat. I just, you know, I don't know. I guess we can agree to disagree and still be friends.
Well, we're still going to be friends, and you're not wrong on your attitude because they being the ones you're talking about and bragging about, which rightfully is due to them, they probably fall into the 29%. But you've got to admit, Donna, when you look at 29% out of the 100 percentile basis, and that leaves 71% that are either incarcerated, too dumb to get a high school diploma, or too obese, you'd better be worried.
Well, yeah, I agree. I agree that is a high number, but I'm just wondering if, you know, maybe they can't be off a little bit. We're not the only rural community or state that has, you know, young men and women who are, you know, enlisting. But, you know, I guess it's a good thing to bring up. I just, you know, I don't want to diminish the ones that...
Well, no. Now, that offended me a little bit. I never diminished anybody that's serving their country or that is qualified to serve their country in this area or is in an ROTC program or whatever. I never diminished that. I lumped them into the 29% that we can be proud of, but you cannot be proud of, no way, shape, or form, the 71% that absolutely are too obese, didn't get a high school diploma because they were too lazy and didn't have the drive and motivation, or are right now incarcerated. You have to be worried about that.
Well, I am a little worried, and I didn't mean that you diminished them by any means. I know you would never do that, and I'm sorry you took offense to that. I'm just talking about the public in general, and we do have a problem with obesity and children being incarcerated and, you know, being obese and whatnot, but I think in the long run, I think we'll be able to fix it if parents just started taking accountability for raising their own kids. Well,
wait a minute. Right there, you've opened up another Pandora's box, and you will have to admit, that parenting today has changed an awful lot since Donna and old Zebber had their kids at home.
Yes, it has.
And not for the better.
I think if we got back to the old way of bringing up our children, I think we'd be a whole lot better off.
See, there's common ground. I thought we were awash at sea there for a while, but now the lifeguards have put us on the same island, and we're all friends again. God bless you.
Yeah, we are, Zeb. You have a great day,
All right.
friend.
Thank you. Dear friend right there. I just love those folks. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Anytime you see numbers on polls that are that far apart, 29% of our young people are eligible. The other 71%, oh, brother, they got trouble in River City. That's scary. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. I'm going to ask you to hold on just a second. I've got a quick ad to take care of, and I'll be right with you. Don't forget Barry Equipment and Rental. 3 locations serving you with the best of sales, service, and parts, and all the equipment for lifting and digging and pushing and carrying and all the grading and the leveling and everything else. Man, I mean, they've got all the heavy work taken care of with the equipment that you need. 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, and the Napa location. These people really know and can help you at Barry Equipment and Rental. Burley, Twin Falls, and Napa. You get a hold of them today. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Zeb. You know, the older generation that built this country made life too easy for this younger generation. That's where the whole problem is at.
Okay, define that, though, Tony. It's easy to say, we made it too easy for these kids. Doggone it. What do you mean? How did we make it too easy for them?
They never had to get out and work. They didn't experience the hard times that you and I have, or the older generation. And they figure, well, whatever is going on here belongs to them. All the good life should go to the younger generation.
Yeah.
All they want to do is sit back and maybe collect welfare someday, and this is what it is.
Well, I think you will agree with me. Maybe you won't. And if you don't, that's all right. We'll have a good conversation. But it's not the kids' fault. It's your fault and my fault and their parents' fault, because we did not maintain a work ethic and a self-responsible ethic so that they could pull themselves up by their own bootstraps. Honestly, I think it's our fault more than it is the kids' fault.
Well, in my case, and probably your case, there was discipline.
Oh, yeah.
I think you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Yeah, we either walked a straight line or we got the hell beat out of it.
Well, yeah, kind of.
Sound familiar?
I'm chuckling at all the times that I saw my German dad coming, and I thought, the end of the world as I know it is here today.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And it was always kind of a funny deal, because my mother, if it happened in the house and my mother said, wait till your dad gets home or wait till your dad gets back in the house, it was kind of waiting for the apocalypse, because you knew the end of the world was going to happen. And when you heard the back door open, you thought, the last sound I'll ever hear.
I didn't have to wait till my dad got home. I got it right there on the spot.
Okay. Tony, God bless you, man. Thanks for your call.
Hey,
all right, appreciate it. Caller, I'll be right there. I want to remind everybody about the Bennett Boys Auction Service. Hello, Joe Bennett and the rest of the Bennett Boys. They've got a big sale coming up on Saturday, and it's the Chuck Benedict auction, and it's going to be over in Filer in the Clover area, 3550 North, 1950 East. From the Clover Christian School, go east 2 miles, and I'll tell you what, it's going to be a ripping good sale. They've got backhoes, tractors, farm equipment, really nice shop equipment, according to what I see here. Shop tools, supplies, lawn and garden items, all of this and more at the Chuck Benedict auction over in the Clover area. Saturday morning at 10:30, managed by the Bennett Boys Auction Service. No sale too big, no sale too small. The Bennett Boys, they sell them all. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, this is a discrimination call. How come you're nicer to Donna than you are to me?
She's a nice lady. Sometimes you're a burr in my saddle. What more can I say?
Yeah, that's certainly true. But is pizza the staff of life? nowadays.
No. You know, I don't care on this program, and I mean this. If you agree with me or not, we can have a good discussion and bring out various viewpoints, and that's how it is with friends and foes alike.
You know, and I appreciate you and how you dress me down sometimes.
Oh, my.
I need it.
Well,
Not to, like when I said eulogy the other day, I haven't been out of the house since then because I don't want my friends to know about it.
no, we all make mistakes. Good heavens, I make more mistakes than most people because I'm involved in more articles of information. And I make mistakes too, believe me. And I had a comment that was made to me the other day by a person that doesn't even know me. And it really kind of infuriated me, but they have a right to their own opinion. I mean, not that I'm going to give them any credence, but I just wish people would realize that, you know, we need to talk more, not less. And we need to discuss more, not less. And we can't follow like sheep over issues that need to be discussed, and that's where I really get upset.
You know, you're probably one of the best debaters I've ever run across.
Except with one person.
You?
Except with one person, and that's Deanne. Yeah. There is no debate. It's either or you better get it done. She's out in the other room, and I know the door's going to open up in a minute.
You have the natural ability to bring people around to your way of thinking.
Oh,
that's a real good trait.
That is always very nice of you to say that, Keith. You've been very complimentary, and you and Nancy, of course, so supportive of our program and Lunch Bunch.
I'm just a poor boy.
Yeah, well, listen, I belong to that same club. I've got my Mickey Mouse ears, too. I got to run and take another call, my friend. God bless you. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye-bye.
Appreciate it. Caller, good morning. You're on the air before I do the weather.
Yep, good morning. Just a quick thing. Thank you, Keith. You and I have had discussions. You know, that's what I love about our friendship and your program, Zeb. You're not afraid to take on the hard topics and keep people informed about what's going on. And you have the facts. You have... You know, and everybody has an opinion. Not that, you know, we're all right or we're all wrong, but that's what I love about your program.
Well, that was really nice of you, and you had an ample opportunity last weekend to throw me in the lake, and you didn't do it.
I thought about it. No, I didn't. we totally enjoyed that visit, but, you know, on a serious note, I really do enjoy being able to listen to your program and know that what you're putting out is helping the community. And you and Deanne do so much for all of us. Just wanted to let you know that we appreciate you.
No, that means more than you know, and I got to pass some credit along here. Number one, this is not a Captain Ahab where everything goes through me. If it weren't for Deanne and all her effort, if it weren't for Wheels and the effort over at the station, and if it weren't for the continued efforts of Gina and also Sharon and others, there wouldn't be this program, because it takes more than just one person standing up there, believe me, and I'm very appreciative of all the folks and all the help.
Oh, we are too. It's, you know, it's kind of like one big happy family. And
no, I wouldn't go there. No, it's one big family, but don't add that word happy.
Well, you know, when you stand up and you should have sat down, that's Deanne's prerogative to tell you so.
Oh, amen.
You do have a wonderful backing for your program, and Deanne deserves a great big thank you too. And we treasure your friendship. You know, good friends are hard to come by.
That's really true. And one of the things that I mentioned earlier this morning is that we are going to make some changes on the program. And as I said, on May 30th, we're going to start incorporating Sharon every other Thursday during the course of the summer, and kind of give Deanne and I a little extra time off for some personal things that have to be taken care of. And we're not going to diminish the value of the program or diminish the segments or the national people that come on, but I just need a little extra time to get some things put together.
Yeah, well, just wanted to let you know we appreciate it. And for Keith, let me tell you, he hands me my rear end on a platter every once in a while, so don't feel bad.
God bless you. Have a good day. Thank you. Thank you. Let's go to the weather forecast. Oh, my goodness. Who's sponsoring the weather this hour? Well, it looks like it's our dear friends at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And they're right behind the Minidoka Hospital across from the emergency room, ready to serve you with all your hearing health needs. Absolutely. They treat each and every person with customized and personal treatment plans. Please get a hold of them today. Number to call for an appointment, 312-0957. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And right now, here's Gina.
Expect some precipitation in the forecast for the next couple of days. And for today, that's not going to be any different. Mostly cloudy skies is in the weather. And then we are expecting scattered rain showers and thunderstorms by this afternoon. Some of those storms could produce gusty winds of about 30 miles an hour, but steady winds out of the south-southeast at about 10 miles an hour. We are expecting a high of 72. Tonight, those showers will continue with a low of 41. And then, of course, carry over for tomorrow. Expecting a high of 54, rain showers likely for tomorrow night with a low of 37. Maybe by Saturday we'll see a little bit of sunshine. Calls for mostly sunny skies, but a chance of thunderstorms, and we are expecting a high of 61. And then for Sunday, 40 to 70% chance of showers, and expecting a high of 58. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Wow. I mean, that's getting like back into October, for heaven's sakes. Hey, the weather brought to you this hour by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And, of course, they are so helpful to you and your hearing health needs. Please give them a call today. Number to call, 312-0957. Well, good morning, caller. I've been waiting for your call.
You know, when it comes to...
Have you ever noticed, I got to interrupt you for a quick second. Have you ever noticed you have never, ever got on this program and said, good morning, Zeb? You always go, well, when it comes to...
Let me tell you, I don't want to waste your time, and I don't want to waste anybody else's time.
All right.
And I know, no, I want to be respectful and courteous. Something I think our young people don't know a lot about sometimes. I'm very concerned about the younger generation.
Amen.
But I'm also concerned about the fact that the men, when you and I were in school, they didn't care if we went out behind the school and beat each other up. They just let it happen. Nowadays, you can't do that. That don't happen. It's controlled. And so manliness is controlled. Now, I'm not saying that when you're playing basketball or football or whatever, wrestling, those are very competitive sports, and I don't care who's playing it. It's good for women and men. It's good to know that men know that they're men, and women know that they're women. But you know as well as I do, when girls are holding hands in American Falls High School, it isn't because they're innocent. And it isn't they want to get attention.
Yeah.
And you were talking about people that are prepared to defend this country. Well, it's getting smaller and smaller, and men, for some reason, men are more effeminate. Or testosterone levels or whatever. Tucker Carlson has covered this a lot.
Yeah.
How the men are not men anymore, for whatever the reason.
Well, we had that author on the other day. I don't know if you heard the segment. Stefan Arnio wrote a book about basically, will real men please start stepping up and acting like men? I'm paraphrasing, but absolutely, it's the truth in our society. I mean, we're looking at a feminization of American men, and it's shameful, disgusting, and despicable. And I want to see, and I keep referring to it in this manner, maybe you don't agree with it, I want to see the John Wayne attitude. I want to see men act like men. I want to see them open doors for ladies. I want to see them be the dominant part of the family. I want to see that, and I don't care if anybody's offended by that or not.
Well, it can't happen, because this cannot occur. We're sliding as a society. let's face it, we're fat and happy. We're spoiled. And I don't know what we do. You know, I work myself silly, but I'm very grateful that I have the work.
Absolutely.
And I love the work, and I love work, and I'm in shape, and I'm proud of it. But I work my heart out to be that way. And I play hard, and I work hard, but I'm just me. And my boys are men. They're the scrappiest. They're scrappers. And, thank God. But you see, that's just me and my family.
Yeah.
I look around, and I lived straight down from Burley High School, and I watch them, depending on the day, walk past here, and I go, and they all have phones, and they're all on them, and what they're doing on them phones, you know as well as I do, it ain't good.
No, I agree with you.
And it scares the hell out of me.
Well, it ought to scare the heck. It ought to scare the heck out of everybody, because if we're looking at 71% that are ineligible in accordance with the poll numbers to serve their country because, number one, they're too obese, number two, they're not smart enough to get their high school diploma, or number three, they're in jail, I would say that the trumpet player and the trombone player better start playing, because there's trouble in River City.
Well, you're right. And obesity is a serious problem. You know, when I live in a neighborhood, a very nice neighborhood, and I will walk outside and I'll listen for children happy and laughing and playing throughout the neighborhood. And believe me, there was a time when you could hear it all the time.
Yeah.
Now they don't come out of the house.
It's a shame.
In the winter.
It's
in the summer.
It's got to stop what we're doing, because we're actually hurting the younger generation. Randy, I got to run, but thank you so much. God bless you, man. Thanks. Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox have teamed up with their home comfort systems, and they're offering up to $1,700 in rebates on new systems. All you got to do is call Ramsey Heating and Electric today at 678-0459, or visit them online at ramseysonline.com. See the dealer for details. Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox. Call today. Oh, I got time for another call. Give me a jingle. This guy that I'm going to talk about right now is really, he's at the bottom of the barrel with my respect. Bill Nye. He says he is the science guy. Bill Nye, the science guy. Well, first of all, he's not a scientist. He's a showman. Bill Nye is not a scientist. He is a charlatan, and he's a showman, and he does not have a major degree at all. Believe me. Bill Nye is a foul-mouthed left-wing activist that is circling like a buzzard over climate change, because he's being paid to push climate change, with all the props and the giggles to promote climate change. And then he came out with a video just recently showing him taking a blowtorch to a globe of the world and using foul language to sell it. I mean, this is ridiculous. People like Bill Nye should be punched in the mouth for the language they use on children's programming to promote their own personal gain. I was absolutely incensed by what he said and how he said it. And I know I'm going to take some heat about saying he should be punched in the mouth. Well, that kind of language being geared and aimed at kids absolutely is unnecessary. Bill Nye is a jerk. Caller? I'm calm now. Good morning.
He's an actor getting paid to perform in a skit.
Actually, he showed his real credentials on Dancing with the Stars, and quite frankly, that's the best he can do.
Exactly. Yeah, he's a joke. He's just part of the left. He's part of their propaganda. He really has no clue how the world really works. He just gets paid to say this stuff, and he's making a fortune doing it, and he keeps on doing it.
Yeah, well, he kind of falls right in lockstep with even some that are local, like the Times News op-ed editorial board or former Attorney General Jim Jones, falls in lockstep with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Bill de Blasio, clowns looking for a circus.
Exactly. All I got to say is about us patriots, we need to get your popcorn, and because the show's going to begin.
Oh, yeah.
The deep state and the Democrats.
I do not know all the mechanisms of taping this and moving this and getting that and setting all the times for the certain show, but I'm going to learn because, man, there's things I don't want to miss.
Right.
I've got to run too. Thanks, Doug. Appreciate it. Our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Man, I appreciate them. They are such nice people and so easy to work with and so service-oriented. Yes, they are. All 7 locations serving you. They've got all the tires, all the sizes, all the tread designs, everything that you need for your cars, pickups, SUVs, horse trailers, boat trailers, whatever. The best in brake service with highly trained brake technicians, front-end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries. But above all, service. Service reigns supreme. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Trent on Overland in Burley. The best. Your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers. Going to take a break. Be back in about 7 minutes. Don't go away. And a good morning. Welcome back. Hour number 2, Zeb at the Ranch on a Thursday, already May 16th. And we're very, very proud to announce again that our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you with the best of tires for your safe driving. Along with some of our great advertisers, and we're going to hear about more of them in just a few minutes. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Want to remind you again, quickly, Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox Home Comfort Systems all teamed up to offer up to $1,700 in rebates. Let me try that again. Rebates, bit my tongue, on a new system. Don't forget to check it out. Call Ramsey Heating and Electric today at 678-0459. And terms and conditions apply. See the dealer for details. Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox. Want to also give a moment here to our dear friend Joel Heward, family, and staff. I've known Joel now for a long, long time. What a great man, and the way that they serve you and your family with a time of need when there's the passing of a loved one, they always offer the best possible support and comfort, always with the highest ethical standards and unquestioned integrity. All of this at Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert. The number to call, 436-5636. That number again, 436-5636. Joel Heward, also serving you and your family at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. Oh, and don't forget Mondays. My goodness sakes, I had a little piece of candy during the break, and I'm having a hard time trying to keep from biting my lip. Yeah, I know, Deanne, for medical purposes. Anyway, I want to remind you on Mondays at 10:30, we've got, of course, Vicky's Country Gardens. Green Thumbs, Dirty Knees, and Vicky's Country Garden on the Burley Paul Highway. And don't forget to get your questions submitted for next Monday at 10:30. Vicky's Country Garden right here on Zeb at the Ranch. Wow, we've got 8 minutes right now to get everything we ever wanted to know but might be afraid to ask. It's going on over at the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce. Here's the president and CEO of the Chamber, Penny Main. Good morning.
What a setup. Thank you so much. How are you this morning?
I am peachy wonderful. I understand that you've got a graduation ceremony today.
We do, yes. Today's the final day of this year's leadership event over the last few months. And yeah, we're all headed up to Albion this afternoon, and we're graduating 10 great folks from the annual leadership conference. So, yeah, we're really, really excited about that. It's been a busy morning, actually, here. We've had all of the folks in from the leadership, and they've just left off to their tour. They're going to several different places today. They're going to Dot Foods to start, and then they're traveling up to Alamo, and they're going to take a tour of the City of Rocks, and then to Castle Rock State Park, and then head back to Albion this afternoon for graduation. So that's a good thing. And we're winding up also at the same time here the final notes and great success, I might say, of our most recent Women's Expo that they held a couple of weeks ago. So, yeah, all things are looking up, that's for sure. Not to mention I have my sprinklers on and the lawn is mowed. So things look really great here at the Chamber right now.
Do the graduates have tassels?
You know what, friend? I cannot answer that question. I could let you know. I'll know this afternoon if they have a tassel or not.
Well, I was concerned about now, is it on the right side and you shift it to the left, or is it on the left side and you shift it to the right upon graduation?
I'm going to have to Google that. I'll find out.
Okay, all right.
I don't remember. But anyway, it's really, really great. We're really excited about that. So, and just quickly to mention, I mean, already, of course, we're seeing lots of people come in, in through the visitor center, which is an entirely, specific operation here for the Chamber of Commerce. And yesterday we had people in from Sydney, Australia, the day before from Canada. So people are traveling all over, and so exciting to see, and it's only the first part of May, so we anticipate a busy summer here.
We've got about 5 minutes left in our segment today, and I want to really have you expand on what's going on with not only tourism here in the Magic Valley, especially in the Mini-Cassia area, but also possibly expanded businesses.
Well, Here's the thing. So this week has been an interesting week for me, if I may just briefly capitalize on that. So I've had a couple of great meetings this week with Doug Manning, of course, who's the economic developer for the city of Burley. Yesterday afternoon I met with Sean Berriger with the Twin Falls Chamber, and I also had a meeting yesterday, which was really exciting, with the group from Southern Idaho Tourism. And so, there's a lot happening. Of course, right now, through Saturday night is the big Lights and Laser event brought to you by Southern Idaho Tourism, which the Chamber is proud to be part of. And as we start to, get toward the summer, I mean, there's a lot happening, just especially in the Mini-Cassia area, and we briefed on that last week a little bit. We've got the Spudman coming up, our annual golf tournament coming up, kind of one thing right after the other. The good news is that this area, Southern Idaho, has so much to offer for the tourist, albeit in the Twin Falls area, from Shoshone Falls to the base jumping opportunities to all of those beautiful, beautiful places down in Hagerman that people can tour and see, but also over in our area, which we're so very proud of. You've got Lake Walcott. I know you've been there. The City of Rocks, Castle Rocks. There are just so many different events for people to be a part of, and that's what, part of the Chamber's mission is to get people more into this area and actually experience Southern Idaho and what it looks like from all aspects. We're very, very fortunate here.
Penny, you've just taken over as the president and CEO of the Mini-Cassia Chamber of Commerce. Anything that has been a real shock to you since you took over the reins, or is everything just going so fluid you just can't stand it?
Well, thank you so much. A shock? No, nothing to that degree. However, one of the things that I've always believed in is having discussions with people, and that has kind of been my mantra over the last couple of weeks. And what does that look like? Again, the bottom line. Having meetings with people like Cleo Gallegos and Tony Morley out of the city of Heyburn, which is where our office sits. Speaking with Doug Manning, looking at the overall economic scale of what's happening in the Mini-Cassia area. Next week, meeting with Kelly Anson, and we all know Kelly, and his take on what's happening in Rupert and the greater Minidoka area. So although I've lived here, Zeb, for almost 24 years, because essentially I worked out of the area, it's easy to kind of lose a grip on actually what's happening. So one of my missions has been over the last 2 weeks is to get in front of people and really get a take on what's happening. And again, collectively, if we just have a conversation, it's not always about who's right. It's about doing what's right. And so trying to come to some agreement on, who's going to do what and who's responsible for what. I mean, it's been really eye-opening, but extremely beneficial and very successful. So I'm extremely grateful for that.
Well, we certainly appreciate your being on the program with us every week, and I know that there are many, many ways people can contact the Mini-Cassia Chamber of Commerce. Maybe you could share 30 or 40 with us real quick.
Well, I can share a couple, actually. Of course, you're welcome to call us here at the Mini-Cassia Chamber. We're open essentially Monday through Friday from 9 to 5. Our direct phone line here is 208-679-4793. Of course, you can also check out our website at minicassiachamber.com and check out all the things that we're doing there. You get to know our folks, our board of directors, and some of the things that are happening throughout just the Mini-Cassia area. You can like us on Facebook. We'd love to have you do that. And just kind of stay tuned, because we're going to be doing probably a lot more social media and getting in front of people in a couple of different ways here over the next few months. And so, just call us. And we've got lots of information. And Vicki Perez, who runs our front office, is loaded with lots of great new maps and opportunities and magazines and all those kinds of things to tell folks about what's happening not only in this area, but in Idaho and really in the Northwest. So it's a great source of information if people need great maps and need resources on how to get to and from places.
All right.
We'd love to help you out.
Love it. Thank you very much, Penny Main, the president and CEO of the Mini-Cassia Chamber of Commerce. Talk to you next week. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Fred.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to remind you about our friends at Let's Ride. Oh, get your motor running. Boom, boom, boom. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. All the watercrafts, all the side-by-sides, all the four-wheelers. Oh, yeah, you've got to get outside. You've got to get some fresh air. You've got to really appreciate Idaho. Well, they'll help at Let's Ride. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. Number to call, 436-4771. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays, 9 to 4. Oh, yeah, all the accessories, great service department, all at Let's Ride. Yep, it's true, where the fun is sold at Let's Ride. Want to also give a great big shout-out to my dear friend Jeff and the rest of his great staff over at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. My, they're located at 459 Overland in Burley, and are you having a hard time sleeping at night, Bunky, on that old mattress that looks like the Grand Canyon? Well, let me tell you something. They're having a mattress sale out right now where they've got good, better, and best mattresses on sale prices. You better stop in, pick one out just for you. Great savings, and great people can help you at Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. And all the floor coverings, all the carpet, all the furniture, everything for the beautification and comfortization of your home. Gee, I said that fast and didn't have to stutter. It's great. Nice people. 459 Overland and Burley. Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More. We are starting a brand new segment this morning on our program, and we're going to have alternate weeks when they will be on the air helping you get back to being you. And when I say that, there's only one name and there's only one business that I know can do the job 100% in helping you with all the aches and the pains and recouping from surgery or an accident. And that's, of course, my dear friend Nick Greenwell and his staff at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Good morning, Nick.
Well, I had just texted you, sir. I had called over there, and they had actually told me that he's out sick this morning.
Oh, no!
Yeah, so that's about that. I don't know exactly what you want to do, but...
Well, I tell you what we will do. We'll just have a reschedule, restart. I was unaware that he was out sick this morning, and both Deanne and I are looking at each other like, oh, okay, well, we wish Nick the best, and we will delay the onset of our segment with them until perhaps next Thursday, and we'll get everything taken care of.
Actually, that sounds pretty good.
Well, I hope it does, because that's the way we're going to do it. Okay. Wheels, thank you. I'll just go ahead and acknowledge the fact of what we're doing with them and why. So thank you very much for your information. I appreciate it. Now, you heard that Nick's out this morning. We didn't know that. We were going to do a live interview for about 10 minutes over to Nick Greenwell at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. And I want to highlight, I talked to Nick not too long ago when he was in working on my knees and everything. And I said, a lot of people really should know and appreciate what you do to help them. I mean, whether it's an arm injury or leg or maybe some other injury or ache and pain, they can really help at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Now, Nick heads up all the physical therapists, and I mean, there's a staff of people that really, really know and understand how to get you back to being you. I urge you to give them a call and make an appointment. 678-1191, 678-1191. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. We've got some time. You can give me a call. We'll talk about anything right now. So give me a jingle on the landline if you would, and love to hear from you. While I'm waiting for your call, I want to urge you to put this on the calendar that next Thursday, the 23rd, we will be at Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner, at 611 North Overland in Burley for Lunch Bunch. And our thanks go out to all of our gift certificate donors, and that includes Walmart, Smith's Foods, Hanson Mortuary, Stokes Groceries, Doug Martin, along with Denny's. It's going to be a lot of fun. Always is at America's Diner. Don't you miss it. Next Thursday, Lunch Bunch on the 23rd. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. It's not a good day for phones and callers, and we lost that one, Wheels. What happened to him?
Doug must have had a customer come in, so hopefully he'll call back in.
I think he was toying with our minds, if you want to know the truth. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Okay, folks, lines open. Give me a jingle, and while I'm waiting for your call, I also want to say a big shout-out and a thank you to Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Now they call back. I'll be right with you, I promise. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits, all of this and so much more. Personal service, and they are dedicated and responsive to your needs. Please take the time and the effort to call and help yourself by letting them help you. 436-4424. That number again, 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Caller, good morning.
Good morning again. When your wife calls, you got to answer.
Oh, really? Is that what happened?
That's what happened.
Woo! My, aren't we the leader of our household?
She trumps you.
Okay. What's going on, man?
Oh, not much. Another thing I wanted to mention this morning, I read this the other day and got to thinking about it, and it's very, very interesting. And it says, when you cheat to get into college, you go to jail. But if you cheat to enter the U.S., you get free college.
And free housing, free food, everything.
Yeah. Something's wrong with that picture.
Well, the picture is follows. We're going to do a bunch of segments on this in the next couple of weeks. Doug, it goes without saying that I watched, and I'm sure you did too, many of the segments on the border and the mess it is and how our agents are being overrun and overwrought. And I'm pointing the finger right now back east on Congress, the Democrats and the Republicans, lazy, slovenly, and protecting their own seats in their respective house to the point where they're not doing a doggone thing.
Exactly. Kelsey Grammer said it best. The clowns in Washington.
Well, we've termed that for a long, long time. I mean, it's a circus back there, and the only thing they can decide on is who's going to feed the elephants on Thursday morning.
Yeah. Yeah, they've had their way. They've manipulated rules, laws, regulations to where it protects them and their way of life, and lied to the American people to maintain their way of life. And now it's being exposed, and they don't like it.
I was going to Twin yesterday immediately after the program to pick up my wife. Had a phone call, and this particular person criticized me somewhat in saying that I was too harsh on the House and the Senate for not getting anything done. Who else am I going to point my finger at right now? Who else are we going to blame? Who else right now is playing CYA with their titles and all their different committee appointments? They're not doing a doggone thing on the border, and we are being overrun. Who else, Doug?
Exactly. That's who it is. That's who we elected, and we are paying to take care of this country and take care of the Constitution, take care of us. I feel these people in Washington, D.C. that swear to uphold the Constitution, they need to take a civics test on the Constitution so they know what is in it.
Well, let me ask you a question, and I think you know the answer to this, and you can just spew it at me right away. How many times have you heard from Mike Simpson lately as to what he's doing?
The only thing I've heard is he wants to take the dams out of the Snake River so he can get salmon back up here. Heck with hydropower, heck with irrigation, heck with farming.
Oh, so in other words, you haven't heard him talk about the immigration system and the problems?
No.
Okay. Well, then let me ask you, what about Jim Risch?
Jim who?
Yeah. What about Mike Crapo? Please tell me. I'm sure you've probably talked to them and asked questions.
The only time I seen him is he was asking the last questions on a committee back there, and he was just repeating some questions somebody asked before. He didn't have an original thought.
Well, see, here's my point. Why do we, and especially me, why do we have to chase them like dogs after parked cars to get on here and talk to their constituents that put them in office and basically are paying their dividends? And why do we have to keep chasing to get answers about what's going on? They should make it a point to make sure they call in every single week to let us know what's happening with the possibility of war with Iran, all the being overrun with illegal aliens, what's going on in our economy, and I'm sick and tired of not being informed by somebody that I voted for to put back there and give me the information.
Yes, and the one thing that really bothers me, they go back there, this is what I think, this is what I think, this is what I want to do. They do not take care of the people that vote them in to put them back there. It should be, this is what the people of Idaho want. This is what my constituents want. This is what I'm going to do. Be damned if what I think.
I don't know. I harp on this every day.
Their own little memorial in their own little nest egg.
Yeah. I harp on this every day, and I'm getting absolutely chicken fried, if you will, to the point where why do I have to run around and schedule on my program? And, Doug, you know this because we've talked about this privately. But when I schedule something, it's kind of like, doggone it, I'm depending on it because we've got a national audience and we've got a lot of people that are depending on what we put on the air. And then at the last minute, the cancellation. Oh, we'll reschedule for the next time. And then at the last minute, the cancellation. Why can't they look at their constituents in their home states as really a priority?
That's what they should. But they've got the job. They're back in Washington. They're in with their little bubble. And the state of Idaho be damned with what you guys want. We're going to do what we want back here.
Well, it's really frustrating to me, and I'm not picking just on Simpson or anybody else. I'm picking on all of them. I've got time for one more call, Doug. God bless you for your call this morning.
Everybody, let's do what you can for your senior centers.
I appreciate that. Thank you very, very much, Doug. Caller, quickly. I've only got a minute and a half left in this segment. Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, Zed, these guys need to seek a different line of work because all they're doing is stealing our tax money. And that's the way I look at it.
Well, I just wish they'd take a little time and effort to realize and appreciate and thank the people that put them in office by letting them know what's going on firsthand instead of having to read the newspaper, which is a joke, and hear about press releases, etc. I just don't think they're doing their job.
Well, they feel they don't have to because they're in the power position right now, and they have power over us, and they can do whatever they want, and we can't get rid of them.
That's really true, and I'll tell you what, I know there's some people that are probably calling their respective zone offices right now, and, oh, Zeb's complaining about you again. Yes, I am, because they're not doing their job and they're not informing the public, and I'm going to stay the squeaky wheel looking for the grease, Tony.
Well, keep burning them.
All right, my friend. Hey, God bless you for your call. Thank you so much. I do appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, let's see where we're at here right now. I believe that we're about all ready to go with our next lady that I look forward to talking to her because she's kind of a medication for me on Thursdays because we talk about politics and come up with some solutions that need to be done. Whether they heed them or not, I don't know. But I say good morning to a lovely lady on 9:30 on Thursdays. Rita Ramsey, how are you?
Good morning. I'm good. Thank you.
Rita, I want to ask you, you and I have been friends for a long, long time, you and your family, my wife and I. Do you think I'm wrong in the harsh criticism I'm giving our senators and congressmen because they are not calling us and letting us know what's going on?
Well, I don't think that you're hard in criticizing them. The big issue is that we, the people, have let them do whatever they wanted, and they are so used to it that they totally reject anything that we ever say. And their thinking is, I'm smart, you voted for me, I'll do what I want to do, instead of holding them accountable. And until people start just literally flooding them with emails and phone calls and or snail mail, they're not going to change because they are just cozy in their little spot in Washington. They can do what they want. They have absolutely no accountability. And right now, the more quiet they are, the better they can be because there's so much going on that they don't have to be out there making any decisions.
Well, you know, I really like the way you phrased that. But why should I, as a talk show host that's been established for 20 years in this area, why should I have to keep chasing them? And then when they make a commitment to a time to come on the program and talk to you and others, cancel, then they don't call back, and then I got to go through the procedure again. What's wrong with them as our paid people, and they are, taking some responsibility and making sure that they call us to establish a time to be there?
Well, it's for certain that if you had called and said, we'd like to have you on a segment once a month and this is the day or whatever, that they would have an assistant or somebody make sure that they held that. But because they don't feel like it's important, it's kind of like, oh, maybe they'll forget about it and I won't have to do anything. That's all they do is shove money into their pockets, which is basically bribe money and re-election money, and they'll do whatever they want, and whoever has the biggest dollar bill amounts is who they pay attention to.
I'm really getting discouraged with some of our national representation. One, of course, I've been discouraged with for years, and needless to say who that is. But they owe it to the people that voted for them and put them in office to make sure that they make every effort to let us know what's going on, because right now, Rita, there are some extremely critical issues that we should know about.
Well, there are, and it's just really sad that they don't take their job seriously. My husband was telling me of a friend of ours who went back to Washington with a group of people, and when they got back there, Senator Crapo sent an assistant to meet with them. Simpson sent an assistant to meet with them. Russ Fulcher actually met with them. And Senator Risch actually met with them, but the others didn't feel like it was important enough to meet with some constituents in Idaho, and it was a pretty good sized group that went. And he came back and he said that's just the biggest joke. They don't care that we're there. They don't want to answer questions. They don't want to meet us personally. And this is the part that's really sad about it, is we've known this for quite some time. You can't get any kind of attention out of them. And as long as they just keep in their little spot, they're just happy as can be to not have to answer to anybody.
Rita, I've got to ask you, and I know that you, and I've said this many, many times to you, I don't think there's anybody that watches, studies, and comments on the news more than you and or I. But when you follow what's going on or not going on our border situation, and I have had the opportunity many, many times to talk to various Border Patrol agents, various other agents that work on the border, ranchers that live on the border, and everything else, we are looking at critical times right now. Critical times, and we are being invaded. And if somebody doesn't like that, that's their problem, not mine. We are being invaded by thousands and thousands and thousands every day coming into this country, and we're on the hook for the money, and I'm teed off.
Well, I think this is a turning point with many Americans, and our politicians. They'll just sit back, like we've mentioned before, and say nothing. But I think that most Americans are really, really concerned about what's happening at the border and what isn't happening at the border. And they ought to be, because this is going to land in our pocketbooks. We're going to have to take care of it. And the other thing that's really kind of sad about it is, and you don't hear very much about this in very many places, is that it's not about them just storming the borders and coming in here and wanting to work. They're trafficking children, and they are making slaves out of them, and they are abusive, and it's the cartels that are in charge of all of this. And if you actually dig deep enough, you find out who's really behind all of the funding to push these people forward, and it's the George Soros, events. And that type of thing that are pushing these people, paying them, and the whole bit. And it's really sad because it's a conspiracy to overthrow America. And we're just sitting there saying, oh, it doesn't matter. You know, I saw a thing that said the Koch brothers were telling President Trump, you better make sure that the border can stay open and available and stop the trade wars and everything else, thinking that they can just control that type of thing. And most of the time, politicians will listen to guys like that. And it's just really sad because we are upside down in the way that things ought to be according to the way the Constitution was set up.
Absolutely. And you know what? When you hear stories of idiots, and I know people are going to be offended when I say that, but she is, in perpetrating and promoting health care for illegal aliens like Kamala Harris and Bernie Sanders and others that you and I pay for. You are a business person. You run a small business. I am a business person. I own a small business. We are paying for everything and trying to make our family's life a little bit better, but yet these people can come into this country and with the Democratic philosophy, we'll pay some more because we're going to give them free health care. That just makes me madder than I've ever been in my life.
Well, it should, and it should be a big concern to everybody. And the thing I think that's different about this election over what we had a number of years ago was, during the Obama elections, when he was getting or running for office, it was like, well, we're going to give everybody health care, and we're going to have da-da-da, and this is going to be wonderful. And everybody thought, oh, yeah, that's going to be great. And remember all the promises that they showed and said, well, everybody's had to foot the bill for that. And there's nothing has come true about what they said was going to happen. And the only thing that has happened, it has cost us a ton more, and we have less coverage. And I think a lot of people are thinking about their pocketbooks and how that didn't, pan out very good. Not to mention that the care isn't there available for them because of what they don't have available. And they thought, well, gosh, I'm gonna have all of this. And the other part that's really sad about it is that we've got people, Joe Biden's one of them, the whole list all the way down. You could find out that there's not a single one of them that would be opposed to letting all these illegals come in and just have all the free stuff. Every one of them is perfectly fine with it. Some of them are a little bit more outward about it than others. But when it comes right down to it, that's going to be what they're running on, is we're going to give them all this stuff. And I'm kind of thinking there's enough American people that are saying, hey, wait a minute. what are you doing? What are you thinking? We just can't keep going like this.
I hope you're right. I want to shift gears and get to another story, and I commented on it in the first hour today. And when I heard the numbers, I just sat back and I looked at my wife and I said, "Oh my goodness, we have got problems in this country, much more so than I anticipated." 71%. 71% of the younger generation is ineligible to even be asked to serve this country because of three things. They're too fat, or they're too stupid, or they're in jail. This is appalling.
Well, it really is, and we live in a different time than we used to, and because of the time that we live in, people aren't as healthy, or rather I should say agile, as they should be. I'm probably at the top of that list, and it's because of our lifestyles and the type of things that we do or don't do to take care of our health. And when you see kids, young kids that are, can't even go out and play and do the kinds of things that they need to because they're so unhealthy, I kind of think of that advertisement as a public service for kids, and maybe I think it's the orthopedic surgeons that sponsor it. Their little kid is sitting in one room, and he calls on the telephone to the grandma in the next room.
Oh.
"Grandma, would you bring me a grape pop?" And that's just so typical of instead of saying, "Get up and go outside and play, and you can have a great pop when you come in for supper, Buster." It's like, okay, and off she goes to get him a great pop. But this is the way that we've treated our youngsters a lot of times, and it's just amazing how many kids are really totally out of shape. They not only need that exercise and that play and the interaction with other people for their physical bodies, but for their mental health, they need to be doing that kind of thing. My daughters, I always just kind of shake my head, and it kind of takes me by surprise when we'll all be together having, a dinner or something like that, and while we're trying to get dinner on, my daughters will say, "Go outside and run around the house 18 times and then come back in," or "You run out and get on your bike and go up and down the sidewalk," and I'm thinking, what are they doing? And then all of a sudden it's kind of like, you know what? They need to get rid of energy. They need to be doing something that's good for them. And there's nothing better than for them to go out and just play hard.
Well, yeah, but when you break this thing down like I was a moment ago, and they said that there's three reasons why they're ineligible and wouldn't be accepted to fight for our military or be in our military, obesity was one, but then they are not taking the self-responsibility, and I don't think the parents are pushing it, nor are the schools doing their jobs, to graduate them with high school diplomas. And thirdly, most of them, the 71% that are ineligible, have criminal records and they're behind bars. That doesn't bode well for the future.
Well, it really doesn't, and we can thank our professors and the people in high places that are in charge of education, and it filters on down that you're not giving kids the challenge that they need to learn and to become, using their skills better to become smarter. And the other thing is when kids aren't busy, they get into trouble. And the way it is now is that it doesn't matter if you get in trouble or go to jail. We've got a special school for you. We're just going to take care of everything. You can have a record and everything else, and we're going to get you this and that and the other, and we're doing everything for them instead of making them work for it or pay a price for some consequences that they need to pay for. It's just really sad because our society anymore has totally changed. There's no consequences that hold them to account for whether it's school or health or even, just breaking the law. It's just sad.
Let me ask you, Rita, a simple question. Should we, as a country, re-implement and reestablish the draft?
I don't think that we need to. I think that it needs to be there in the event that we have something huge like when we had World War II and Vietnam. But I think that if we have enough volunteers that will go in there and do their thing, that's what needs to happen. But, you know, in the 60s, the late 60s and the 70s was so much different than in the 40s when they had the draft. In the 70s and 60s, you had people just dodging it everywhere. And maybe there were some in the 40s that did. I don't know. But I do know there were just literally people out the wazoo that they got their draft notices and they headed over and they did what they needed to do and they came back and then they had their lives. And we didn't hear hardly anything about it except that they took care of preserving freedom for America and a lot of places around the world.
Absolutely. We're going to do a quick weather forecast, and we come back, we're going to talk about a circus. Caller, I've got to get a weather on. I'll be right back, so stay tuned. Don't forget Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, and they've been providing accounting services to the Mini-Cash area for well over 50 years. Absolutely the best people serving you, your family, and your business. Tax return preparation, tax planning, financial statement preparation, payroll services, retirement planning, all of this and so much more by professionals that really can serve you. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Expect some precipitation in the forecast for the next couple of days. And for today, that's not going to be any different. Mostly cloudy skies is in the weather. And then we are expecting scattered rain showers and thunderstorms by this afternoon. Some of those storms could produce gusty winds of about 30 miles an hour, but steady winds out of the south-southeast at about 10 miles an hour. We are expecting a high of 72. Tonight, those showers will continue with a low of 41. And then, of course, carry over for tomorrow. Expecting a high of 54. Rain showers likely for tomorrow night with a low of 37. Maybe by Saturday we'll see a little bit of sunshine. Calls for mostly sunny skies, but a chance of thunderstorms, and we are expecting a high of 61. And then for Sunday, 40 to 70% chance of showers, and expecting a high of 58. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
Thank you very much, Gina, and brought to everybody by Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And they are really involved in helping agriculture, manufacturing, food production, and services and construction businesses. They know and they can help you. Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. Caller, good morning. You're on the air with Rita and Zeb. Quickly, go ahead.
Hi, Rita.
Hello.
You know, when I joined the Navy in 1955, and I went to boot camp, you know, the first thing they give you was a manual, and it was called the UCMJ. And I don't know if you've ever heard of it or not, but it's the Uniform Code of Military Justice. And in there, it perfectly states that you will not sue the government as long as you are the property of them, which you are if you are in the military. But attorneys and everything have tried to override that and everything, and now the military is not what it used to be. It's not a disciplinary thing like it used to be.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Rita, I'm going to have Rita comment on the air, and then we got to get with the rest of the program for this morning. But Rita, go ahead and comment if you would, please.
I appreciate that information because I did not know that. But one thing that I do know is that if you sign up, whether it's for the military or whatever else, if you sign up, you should be agreeing to whatever their statutes and things are, whether it's a work job or whether just what it is. When you sign up for something, you should say, okay, I will go by these rules. Otherwise, you don't sign up. And this is what I think is really, really admirable about those who go into the military is the first thing they're signing up for is to say, I'm going to defend our country, even if it means giving my life. And we should be appreciative of that. And over the years, that hasn't been how it has panned out, and it's due to the press and a lot of liberals that come along and, say, we don't need to do this and that and the other, and we need to be doing da-da-da-da, and we love those who are opposed to us. And so I appreciate that information, of which I did not know.
Rita, we've got a little fuzz on the line, and I hope if it doesn't get better, I might have to reestablish the line. If I were to offer you a $1,000 check, if you, in 30 seconds, could name each and every one of the potential Democratic nominees for president, could you win the money?
Actually, no.
You know, I was talking about clowns a minute ago. Have you ever seen anything that resembles a circus or a clown car like those that are throwing their hats in the ring, including the biggest clown I've ever watched in my life, Bill de Blasio, mayor of New York? Please comment.
It is just such an absolute joke. You know, they kind of made fun of the Republicans when there were 15 or 16 of them that kind of started out on the trail a few years back, and here we've got half again that many on the Democrat side. And the thing of it is they all have the same message. I don't hear any of them that are saying anything different that differentiates them one from another. So hopefully they'll have enough of them that it'll split up their vote, and they won't really decide on anybody that they like. And when it comes down to one, they'll still be smarting about who didn't get in there, and they'll say, well, then I'm not voting for him because he isn't the one I wanted. But it's just a joke, but I think it bodes well on those of us who are not Democrats or in support of Democrats. Maybe it will be to our benefit that there's so many of them out there.
Let me ask you this, though, in de Blasio's case, and you know this is true. Bill de Blasio is one of the most disrespected, disliked people in politics anywhere in this country. 76% of New Yorkers that were polled laughed and said, what a complete imbecile he is, and he has no business running for president. So if you know 76% of your own base in your own home area hate you, how would you ever expect to become president?
I think these guys get such a fat head. They think, oh, the people of New York voted for me. That means everybody loves me. I can be king of the world, and I'll start with running for president. And I just think that they're just full of themselves and not even thinking, it's going to look pretty sad.
Well, it is looking pretty sad, and I wanted to ask you, too, in regards to, did you see, I thought it was repulsive, the so-called climate change video that was put out by a clown by the name of Bill Nye, the science guy, and he's not really, he doesn't even have a degree. Did you see and listen to the language that was used on that video?
I did not. I've kind of turned my head away from some of the climate change stuff because it's such a joke, and you don't have professionals giving professional opinions, and those who are supposed to be professionals give you information that has been sifted through and pulled stuff out of, and we're going to give you the dates that suit our agenda, and we're going to pull the dates out that don't. In other words, they're not giving you true facts, and so it's like, why should we even figure that anybody's got anything to say about it? And those of us that are old enough remember the climate cooling and then the climate heating, and now it's climate change, and it's just a big scam all the way around.
Absolutely. I wanted to end the program by you commenting on another Democrat that's running for president, and I think this guy is completely unhinged. I think he's like an old screen door just hanging by one nail, and that's Beto O'Rourke. Why would anybody want to tape his going to the dentist office and now taping a haircut where they're cutting off his nose hair and trimming his ear hair? What's the matter with this guy?
I think he's one of those guys that's a follower. He saw AOC doing all kinds of stuff, and let's just bring this right down to the regular people. Everybody gets a haircut, and with her it was everybody's eating this, or and then old Elizabeth Warren, I'm going to serve beer. Oh, honey, I'm glad you came in. Would you like a beer? I'm just one of the regular folk. And I think he's just a follower, thinking that if he does something like that too, he'll get a little bit of a bump because people are paying attention. But what ends up happening is just like you and I talked, we think it's a stupid thing, and he's just way out there.
One of the commentators on Fox News this morning, and I don't know if you heard this or not, and I just about fell over laughing, said, gee, we hope Beto doesn't do a colonoscopy on the air.
Well, that's just it. What are they going to do next to get attention? I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Rita, I always look forward to it. We got a little fuzz we got to take care of on this line. We'll change it at the top of the hour, but I want to say how much I appreciate the visits with you on Thursday. Excellent job. Thank you so much. Anything you want to add or throw in real quick before I let you go?
No, there was one article that I read this morning that was kind of concerning, but it kind of lifted my heart. It was about an actor, and he's not a high-profile actor, but he actually committed suicide on Monday, and that's the sad part. But before he did, on his one of his feed lines that he did on he did a message on, it was on Instagram, and he apologized to President Trump for being so mean and everything. And I thought, this is what's going to happen is all these people are just such idiots that when it comes right down to it in their heart, they're thinking, oh, what was I thinking of?
Absolutely.
What was I doing?
Absolutely. Rita Ramsey, God bless you. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next Thursday. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye.
Thank you. Wonderful lady right there. I enjoy having her on my program. Rita Ramsey, thank you. Wow. Let's say that right now I am hungry. Oh, am I hungry? And I'm starving to death, and I know some great places to go, like the AC Drive-In at 601 East Main in Burley. How about we order some Farmer Brown burgers and a great big basket of fries and the special sauce and maybe a mint Oreo shake. Oh, whatever's on the menu, it's always great eating at the AC Drive-In, 601 East Main in Burley. Let's move on over to Taco Bandito at 2301 Overland in Burley. Oh, wow, all of your friends are there early in the morning for coffee, along with a breakfast burrito of scrambled eggs, bacon, and sausage, cheese, onions, tomato sauce on a tortilla shell. It is delicious. And don't forget, they've got those new pork burritos over there, too, at Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. Well, let's not forget, two locations of Burgers Etc. 124 South Oneida in Rupert and 700 Overland in Burley. They've got the fish sandwich combo after 3 p.m., just $5.99. And they've got all the delicious burgers, and they've got super nice people to serve you. I'm guaranteeing you will have a great eating experience at Burgers Etc. in Rupert and Burley. And last but not least, let's head on over to Steve-O's at 290 South, 600 west of Hayburn. Food made the way you love it. They've got those delicious buffalo burgers and the cheesy broccoli spuds. Super nice people. Oh, and the patio. The patio's open on the nice warm weather, and you can sit outside and just enjoy great dining at Steve-O's, 290 South, 600 west of Hayburn. You stop in and see them today. Right now, we're going to let the big boys from CBS come in here and mess everything up. And we'll be back at 10:06 with Cache County School Days. We've got Debbie Critchfield coming on the program. Business Salute is going to be Western Waste today with Joe. And then at 10:32, we've got a gentleman coming on the air by the name of Raynard Jackson and talking about race and percentages of the races and who they're voting for. So that should be interesting. Don't go away. Zeb at the Ranch. I'll be right back. Good morning and welcome back, hour number 3. And we changed phone lines, and I'm going to ask Wheels. Wheels, do we need to do it again? I've noticed there's still a little bit of fuzz on the line. What do you think, old buddy?
There is a little bit of fuzz, but it's a lot more clear than it was the last hour. So.
All right, well, kind of watch it, bird dog it, and at the bottom of the hour we may change again, okay?
Will do so.
All right, thank you. Calls are welcome in just a few minutes, and we're going to be going to Cache County School Days in just a second with the lovely Debbie Critchfield on our program this morning. But I want to urge everybody to remind themselves we're brought to you by the best, and that's your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with the best of tires for your safe driving. Stop in and see them today, along with some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Also, Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox have teamed up with the Home Comfort Systems, and they're offering up to $1,700 in rebates on a new system. Wow, you better check it out today and call them at 678-0459 or visit them online at ramseysonline.com. Terms and conditions apply. Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox, you get a hold of them right now. Also, I want to quickly remind you that, I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to scoot right into it because I know this lady's got a lot to talk about this morning. And we're going to go right to Cache County School Days, brought to you by A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley. They've got everything in there. Everything in there. I mean, literally all the games, puzzles, toys, and the clothing, the baby furniture, of course, all the Cherokee uniforms and the scrubs. They've got it all. It's a family store serving you right there in Burley at 1308 Overland, and we really appreciate all their efforts over the many, many years of sponsoring Cache County School Days, and that's, of course, A Child's World. Right now, let's go to the phone line. And as I said, a lovely lady that just recently has another title on the wall. And, of course, she is the communications director for Cache County Schools, and that's Debbie Critchfield. Good morning, Debbie. How are you?
I am well. Good morning.
Along with being the communications officer, right now I picked up the paper early this morning at 5 a.m., and there you were. You are the chairman of a new educational task force. Tell us what that means.
Governor Little decided back in January that he wanted to form a statewide task force to take a look at where education needs to be to fill the job requirements of our state, to make sure our students are prepared for what the expectations are now. And as a member of the State Board of Education, which is the governor's board, he asked me to co-chair this committee that will meet in June, and we've thankfully got a quick timeline to deliver recommendations back to him in November, and it's a 26-member task force that will look at 4 areas of education and what types of improvements or what holes need to be filled, and really it'll serve as a guide over the next 5 years for budgeting and just for prioritizing what are the most critical needs for students right now.
Absolutely. Debbie, I am going to ask you a big favor. We've been friends for a long time. I have a phone line evidently that absolutely is terrible because I'm getting nothing but fuzz down the line. I can barely hear you, and I'm going to have Wheels play a quick tune. Wheels, we got to reestablish this, or else there's some problem there at the station with the feed because it's really fuzzy and I can't hardly make Debbie out. So I'm going to call you right back. Play some music quickly, and we'll have Debbie stay on the line. I'll call right back. Thank you.
Okay. Hello again, sir.
All right, let's try it quick.
All right.
And I want to say how much I'm sorry. Evidently, the modern technology, and we had a little bit of fuzz there, and I couldn't hardly make out the lovely voice of Debbie Critchfield. Debbie, I'm so sorry about that. Pardon me for having to break that line and try a new one.
Can you hear me better now? I can hear you actually better.
Oh, absolutely. It's 10 times better. Thank you so much. You know, given the fact that you're with this task force, and I know there's other parties involved, really, what's the ultimate goal or the ultimate touchdown run, if you will? What are you trying to accomplish that's going to help the state of Idaho education?
I guess I could really summarize it by talking about the funding that the legislature provides for districts around the state. it's nice to have, well, it's not just nice, that's a really simplified way of saying it. I think it's really critical to identify those key areas for schools and then attach funding to those things. And there are similarities. There's over 100 school districts in Idaho, and yet there are commonalities in all of those districts, whether you're in Bonners Ferry or, Idaho Falls or here in the Magic Valley. There are things that can be identified to say the following things are important to all students regardless of the geography, and then what dollars need to be attached to whatever those things are, ultimately to improve student achievement. And we finished, so Governor Otter did something similar about 6 years ago, and it was a 5-year plan, and it really helped the legislature determine what items were priorities for funding. And we just finished the last year of that 5-year plan, and so I believe our new governor decided that worked so well, and the implementation has gone well, that let's have a new 5-year plan.
Debbie, as you have been so involved in education for this great state of Idaho and working primarily through the Cassia County schools, I have maintained on my program that the negativity and the naysayers out there, they are way off base. I still maintain we've got a really good product going on here in the state. Anything can be made better, but we've got some top-notch administrators, top-notch teachers, and we're turning out top-notch students.
I believe that too, and as you've said, everyone can improve, and I have stories myself with my own kids where I kind of scratch my head thinking, why is that happening like that? We've all had experiences, but by and large, our teachers are good people. They live in our communities. They want to do a good job. That's why they got into teaching. Our administrators try to do the best they have with the knowledge that they have, and then as a district, you hire people to manage the budget and make decisions in conjunction with community values and expectations. And we put all of those things together, and there's going to be kinks and there's going to be mistakes made. But ultimately, Idaho is doing well in spite of some of the press that you see.
What about some of the, and you sent me a note on this, regarding some of the school board approved changes to athletics and various avenues from athletics, coaching, participation fees, etc. I want you to take time and kind of highlight that if you would.
At the last school board meeting, the board, during the year, there's always investigation of funds. Where are they going? Is it where we want them to be, and so forth? Those budgets are really scrutinized. Cassia spends $1 million a year of their budget on extracurriculars. Now, that's not just athletics. That's drama, band, music, field trips, etc. Looking at athletics, though, separately, there were some things that our board determined needed to be changed, improved, and so forth. One of the changes is the coaching stipend, or the pay that coaches get. There's been a schedule for that, and if you were a certified teacher, you got considerably more than someone who was a community coach. So that teaching certificate signaled a different pay scale. Our board has decided that there shouldn't be a differentiation between a community coach and a certified teacher, and so they're balancing that out, that if you coach a sport, there's still a schedule that determines, if you're a varsity level sport versus a, 7th grade coach of something, depending on time and responsibilities and so forth. So that's one of the changes. Another change that they've brought about, parents of students will know that they have paid in the past a pay to participate fee, and all of those dollars have gone to the central office, so to speak, really to the transportation department to cover costs of transportation, which, as you can imagine, in a district our size and in different athletic classifications, we have, 1 or 2 teams that go to a state championship in each of the classifications every year, and it can be costly. And what's happened, some of the local school athletic budgets have been pretty slim, and so our board has decided that the school can keep the dollars that they collect from their own students.
Well, it sounds to me like you're really on top of things, and the participation fees, athletic directors, coaching stipends, etc. But the one thing I wanted to back up and talk about is you'd be surprised at the amount of people that I have call in and say, well, these kids don't need all those extracurricular activities. They're there to learn and go to school. I maintain, and I get really adamant, that extracurricular activities really help solidify a student to stay in school and want to try and learn more. Am I right or wrong?
Well, I agree with you, and I'm actually not surprised by the comments, and we hear them as well. I think if you were to look at GPAs and just student achievement across the board, student athletes have a tendency to perform better than others for reasons that they need to maintain a minimum GPA to participate in the sport. You're involved in a team setting that you kind of get that encouragement. And the same thing would go for other students involved in drama or art and some of these other things, that providing a well-rounded education includes more than just math and reading, which, of course, are the priorities and those critical budgeted areas, which is why the board constantly is reviewing these extras to determine, okay, is this where we want to spend the money? Is the value there? Are the field trips associated and connected to some type of learning outcome? We don't just take kids to, wherever just because teachers don't want to be in school that day. In order for a teacher to go on a field trip, they have to submit and talk with their principal and show how this field trip is exactly connected to a learning standard.
Wow, I mean, there's quite a process. One thing I was going to ask in regards to the extracurriculars, if you will, is, and this is my own personal opinion, even though I can't play an instrument and I'm the world's worst musician, what about music? Is music kind of taking a back road in the schools across the board today, whereas I think it should be somehow funded so that these kids have a chance?
I suppose it depends on where you stand on this. I would say no, but if you're someone that loves music, that's a focus, and we have many students who that's their basketball team. They love the performance of the music arts. And depending on the school and the budgets and the scheduling and the timing, you may have less exposure to music in some places than others. But I certainly have not seen any indication from our board or principals that they're trying to take music away. I know that there's been some talk at one of our elementary schools, some changes with the music program to incorporate more science, and I think finding that balance can be challenging, but certainly everyone recognizes that music is an important element.
Absolutely. The school year's almost over. Soon there will be nothing to do but lounge on the beach at Murtaugh Lake, right?
Oh, exactly. That's exactly what my summer looks like. It's hard to believe that this year is over. I say that every year, and I feel like it goes faster and faster. But we feel good about the experience that CAJA is able to provide for students. As we touched on before, we're always seeking to do better. Dr. Shank has got a strategic plan in the works that he's working on with our board to really focus on those critical elements of education and student achievement. There are going to be some significant changes in how teachers address students, and we appreciate his leadership coming into the district.
Absolutely. He's always been so interesting to have on the air, thanks to you setting everything up. Cassia County Schools Communications Officer, a lovely lady, Debbie Critchfield. Debbie, again, we don't thank you enough for all you do. We appreciate it, and we hope you have a great week, and we'll look forward to next week on the program.
Sounds like a plan. Have a good day.
All right. Thank you so much. That lady is highly respected by everyone for the job that she does. Thank you, Debbie Critchfield. Our program, of course, Cassia County School Days, brought to you by our sponsor, A Child's World, at 1308 Overland and Burley. Oh, if you haven't been in there, you'd better go. All the spring and summer clothing and all the baby furniture, everything. It's a lot of fun to go on in there for the family. Stop in and see them today. A Child's World, 1308 Overland in Burley, bringing you Cassia County School Days. Want to remind you, too, before we go to our next guest, Patterson's at 421 East Main in Burley. Have you been in there and visited with Curtis and Lorena? Well, you'd better do it. They are your electronics headquarters. My goodness, they've got everything in there. All the car stereos and the speaker systems, complete sound systems, and they've got home theater systems. They've got video surveillance cameras, and they've even got towing hitches in there. HughesNet, Internet, wow. What are you waiting for? Please stop in and see Patterson's at 421 East Main in Burley, or give them a call at 678-6997. Curtis and Lorena and the rest of the staff, they're open Monday through Saturday 9 to 6, and they're waiting to serve you at Patterson's in Burley. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to the phone line. And we're going to talk to a very service-oriented company that absolutely does a phenomenal job all over southern Idaho. Let's give a great big welcome to Joe at Western Way Services. Joe, good morning. How are you?
Sir, do you have another number for him?
Oh, don't give me that. Are you telling me we're having more phone line problems?
We are a tad bit. I tried calling, and it went to his voicemail, so...
You might try the main number at 734-6969 immediately.
All right, will do.
All right, sir. Wow. Deanne's got the number. Let me make sure it's verified here. Looks good to me, 2982. Okay, and we'll try the main office number. Wheels is in charge of that, and hopefully we can get Joe on the line. And these things happen on live radio where your host just sits there and goes, what's going to happen next? I want to remind you, too, about the Idaho Roll Call Monument Memorial Ride. It's the Idaho Roll Call Memorial Ride on Saturday, June 1st. Put that on your calendar. And they're going to have a great big ceremony at 7th and Scott Street in Rupert starting at 1 p.m. They're going to have food. They're going to have some excellent speakers. I understand our dear friend, Senator Kelly Anthon, is going to be the master of ceremonies. Don't miss this, please. Lots of fun and very patriotic. 5th Annual Idaho Roll Call Memorial Ride on Saturday, June 1st in Rupert, starting at 1 p.m. with the program. Don't you miss it. Let's see if Wheels has got our guest on the line. What's it look like, Wheels?
The secretary is still trying to find him as fast as he can.
This is interesting. I'm having a bad day, a bad hair day, I guess. While we're waiting, I want to remind everybody about Joe Bennett and Bennett Boys Auction Service. Oh, my goodness sakes, let me tell you something. Bennett Boys Auction Service, they've got a ripping good sale coming up on this Saturday at 10:30 over in the Clover area. And 3350 North, 1950 east of Filer. From the Clover Christian School, go east for about 2 miles. Look for the signs. It's the Chuck Benedict auction. I bit my tongue again. Chuck Benedict auction, and it's going to start at 10:30 on Saturday morning. They're going to have backhoes and tractors and farm equipment. Really, really nice shop equipment, according to our sale bill right here. They've got horse tack antiques, guns. They've got all kinds of great items, and this sale is managed by Bennett Boys Auction Service. Joe Bennett and his staff, excellent. 10:30 on Saturday morning, and it's located over near Filer at the Clover area, 3550 North, 1950 East, Chuck Benedict Auction, and it's coming up on this Saturday morning. Managed by the Bennett Boys Auction Service. No sale too big, no sale too small. The Bennett Boys, they sell them all. Right now, back over to Wheels. Did we ever find our man?
The secretary tried, but he wasn't in the building, so I'm trying his cell phone again.
Elvis has lost and left the building. He's lost the building, too. Anyway, hopefully we can get Joe on just for a quick minute, and I'm waiting patiently to hear from them. And coming up in just a few minutes after the bottom of the hour, we've got a gentleman that's the founder and chairman of Black Americans for a Better Future, Raynard Jackson. on, and I'm really looking forward to having him on the program. Looks like a really, really nice, personable person, and we're going to get a lot of information about his thoughts on the upcoming 2020 race, and also the Democrats, all 23 of them, or 24 or 37, whatever the number is this morning, and we'll find out more. Don't forget, too, the Minidoka County Senior Center is having a fundraising raffle for 13 gift baskets. Now, each of these baskets has a minimum value of $75 and was created with a different theme. You can see these at the Rupert Senior Center at 702 11th Street in Rupert. Tickets are $2 for one ticket or $5 for three tickets. And they tell me that they're going to be announcing the drawing date at the Minidoka County Senior Center. Wheels, have you had any success over there whatsoever?
I haven't. My head's kind of low right now at the moment.
Not your fault, man. When they make a commitment to come on the program, that's what should happen, and I do appreciate your diligence. Want to remind you again, if you're looking for a home comfort system, look no further, because when that old air conditioner breaks down, you want to have comfort. So get a hold of Ramsey Heating and Electric, along with Lennox Home Comfort Systems, and they are offering up to $1,700 in rebates on a new system. What do? Well, you call Ramsey Heating and Electric at 678-0459 or visit them online at ramseysonline.com. Terms and conditions apply. Don't forget, Ramsey Heating and Electric and Lennox serving you. Next Thursday is a day you need to put on the calendar. Please don't forget it. And why do I say that? Well, because it's Lunch Bunch next Thursday on the 23rd. And we're going to hope that we have the place just jam-packed at Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner. We're looking forward to it. And we want to say thank you to all of our prize donors. And we've got a lot of great gift certificates to give away from Walmart, Smith's Foods, Hanson Mortuary, Stokes Groceries, Doug Martin. He's been so helpful to us. Denny's Restaurant, all of this and more next Thursday on the 23rd. Zeb's Lunch Bunch at America's Diner, Denny's Restaurant. Right now we're going to send it back over to our main studios. We'll be back in about 3 minutes.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
And a big thank you for sticking with us all morning long into the last half-hour segment of our program for this week. As a matter of fact, we're going to wrap it up today and take tomorrow off and just enjoy the weekend. Right now, we're going to go to the phone line, and I really am excited to talk to this gentleman because he is the founder and chairman of Black Americans for a Better Future. Raynard Jackson, good morning, sir. How are you?
Hey, Zeb, good to be on your show. You're a great American.
Well, you don't know me that well, but by golly, I hope you feel the same way when we're done with the interview. How's that?
Well, as long as it ends with the invitation me to come back out to Idaho and hang out with some real Americans.
Well, I'll tell you what, 5 o'clock we might have an adult beverage, so get on the plane, get here, man. Hurry up.
All right, you got it.
All right. Raynard, let me ask you this, if you don't mind me calling you by your first name. Give us a little background of your board that you work with called Black Americans for a Better Future. What does it mean?
Well, it's a 527 super PAC, and we have a sister organization, Black Americans for a Better Future Educational Fund, which is our C4. And what we believe in, Deb, is that we need to bring more blacks into the Republican Party and the conservative movement. And as I used to tell Rush Limbaugh, we don't need to convert the black community. We just need to invite them in because blacks are already more conservative than most whites. And the reason you don't see it more publicly displayed is because the liberal media is not going to show people like me and others. And the NAACP and all these radical liberal groups, they represent their membership, but not the black community. There's a big difference. So we focus strictly on the black entrepreneur because, Zeb, that's just low-hanging fruit because we believe in lower taxes. We believe in smaller government. We believe in just get the heck out of our way, Zeb, and we can figure it out ourselves. But just don't put any artificial barriers in our path, and we will figure it out.
You know, I like your attitude. I like what you say, but I guess an obvious question that I would ask first and foremost is, why do the black voters feel that perhaps they're not welcome or don't want to be a part of the Republican Party? I don't understand that.
Well, it's very easy, Zeb. I'm going to tell you, because the Republican Party has been painted for a generation now as being anti-civil rights and racist. And as you know, Zeb, a lie that's repeated becomes the truth. We need to have 1 million people like me and others across the country pushing back on this liberal foolishness. I grew up in Ferguson, Missouri, right outside of St. Louis, where you had all the uprising a couple years ago, Zeb. Let me tell you something. You look at Ferguson, you look at Baltimore, you look at Washington, D.C. Isn't it amazing that these cities have not had a Republican mayor or city council for almost 3 generations, and yet the pathologies in the black community, even though they're run by black mayors, black police departments, black district attorneys, and the black community standards have gone down. And so it's not the color of your skin, it's the policies that you're advocating. And so until the Republican Party makes the black community feel like they're welcome, Zeb, we're going to continue to see very few blacks involved in our party. So the message is not the problem. It's that we want to feel like you want us to your house for dinner. We don't want to have to get a federal law passed to force you to have us over for dinner.
You know, I'm going to be very blunt, Raynard, because I've only met you on the phone about 4 minutes ago, and I feel very comfortable in saying this. I am sick and tired of racism in America. I am sick and tired of the words that have to be hyphenated. I am sick and tired where we can't sit down as human beings and settle problems. And I think, and I'm saying this because I'm an old man, I think that we're in the worst race relations in this country that we have been since way back in the 60s with Alabama and Wallace. I absolutely am sickened by this. What are your thoughts?
No, I agree 100% with you on that. Again, Zeb, I want your audience to understand, blacks are not looking for this country to give us handouts. We know the legacy and the history of slavery, but let me tell you something, Zeb. Not one person can sit up there with a straight face and say, because of slavery, another black pulled the trigger with a gun and killed another black. No, that has everything to do with the removal of the male figure from the black family in the 60s called welfare. And guess who promoted those policies, Zeb? It was liberal Democrats like Joe Biden and his father when he was in the U.S. Senate. People who claim they care so much about blacks, they promote policies that are antithetical to the black community. And so let's put it to you this way, Zeb. If you were to get rid of all this racial bullcrap that's going on across the country, the Urban League, NAACP, Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton would be unemployed.
Absolutely. But what do we do to change this? I mean, the temperature is rising in this country, and it's unfortunate because I never look at a person's skin color for being friends with me or my family. I will not resort to that because I look at people as human beings. And I honestly feel that the Democrats are the ones that are in there with a screwdriver in the back, and they're twisting and turning to make racial problems in this country so that they can maintain their voting membership. Am I wrong?
Well, no question. I was once told, Zeb, by a friend that the sign of a great teacher is one who makes himself increasingly unnecessary. So if you don't have people every day screaming racism and discrimination, guess what? These guys would not have a job. So you have a whole social welfare network of people like the Al Sharpton whose livelihood is dependent on people being dependent on these government programs and being dependent on someone calling them a victim. If you get rid of that, guess what? You become your own man and you become a free thinker. That's the most dangerous person in America, a free thinker.
What have you noticed, Raynard, as far as the complexion of America or the change in personality in America since Donald Trump become president? What have you noticed?
Well, listen, what I've noticed is that
people are really showing their true colors. Let me tell you something. To say that Donald Trump has anything to do with this increase of violence going on is almost like saying, Michael Jackson has something to do with people, dancing all over the world and stuff. It's like one has nothing to do with the other. This issue, if you were a racist, you were a racist before Donald Trump, and you'll be a racist after Donald Trump. But again, Trump is an easy figure to beat up on, Zeb, simply because Donald Trump is like the guy that you go to a bar with for a drink. He just tells you, you ask him a question, he's going to give you a straight answer. In D.C., where I live at, Zeb, everyone is so politically correct and no one really tells you what they really think. Donald Trump just says, I don't like you. I don't care for you. I'm not supporting your agenda. And so what's the liberal reflective response? Oh, you must be a racist because you don't agree with me.
Raynard, I'm going to appoint you. If I were President Trump, I would appoint you as the man that's going to take care of the problems or have some problem-solving issues that would take care of racism and also violence in our inner city. What would you recommend that needs to be done to draw us together as a nation instead of being fragmented?
Well, I do a weekly syndicated newspaper column in a couple hundred newspapers every week, Zeb. And I did a column a couple years ago when Eric Holder remembers. He said last year, when was America ever great? Well, America was great when Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation. America was great when we signed the Civil Rights Bill of 64 and the Fair Housing Act of 65. America was great when we elected the first black president. So America was great when Jackie Robinson broke the color line. So America has always gotten beyond this original sin, i.e. slavery. So America has always been great. Just because you have blemishes on your record there does not mean you are not a good country and a great people. And so anybody that says, when was America ever great, what country are they fighting and kicking and screaming there to go to other than America?
Well, you bring up such an excellent point on the way you discern that last statement. I am fed up with the Democrats, whether it's that little minuscule man, Pete Buttigieg, or whomever it is, denigrating this great country and saying it was never great, or any one of the Democrats. Which one of those people of the 23, 96, 107 nominees possibly for president on the Democratic Party scare you the most?
Well, that's an easy choice. It's Joe Biden by far, simply because regardless of what you think about his politics, Zeb, Joe Biden is just such a likable person. And, you know, in presidential politics especially, it's almost like a personality contest. Who would you want to go get a drink with most? Is a lot of times the candidate you end up supporting. And Joe Biden and Donald Trump is the same way. He's a very likable guy. He's a guy that can find a common thread with anybody he meets. And so Joe Biden by far. Now, we can pick him apart on issues and philosophy. He'd be easy to pick apart, but he's just a likable guy.
Do you look forward to the day, hopefully and prayerfully in this country, Raynard, where we can get rid of the hyphenated American terminology and just sit down together and in a big circle, maybe with a Budweiser, and say we're all Americans?
Well, yeah, no question. Here's one of the things I tell a lot of the political campaigns I work on. I said, if you tell me that you're really serious about really going after the black vote in your state or district, I said, the sign that you're serious about that is when you take some black staffers with you when you're going to an all-white meeting. Don't just take that black staffer when you're going to speak before a black audience. So when you got a state like Idaho where you are, Zeb, how cool would it be if the state Republican Party had a black speaker come speak to their state convention? Mm-hmm. That's when we made progress, when we don't have to allocate a person like me to speak only to a black audience or only to black Republicans when you're trying to reach out to them. How about taking a white state like Idaho and having a black person be a keynote speaker, not because of his skin color, because he has a unique view to take on what that party believes in?
You know, Raynard, you make so much sense on this, and I absolutely would stand behind you on your comments. But looking at the Baltimores and looking at what's going on now in other major cities, inner city problems and black families without fathers and everything, how are we going to turn this thing around?
Oh, that's easy, Zeb. Very, very easy. Let me tell you something, Zeb. I got friends of mine who I represent in the NFL, NBA. I work with some of the top R&B artists in the country, and most of them are conservative like we are. But you know the problem is that they don't do radio shows like yours because they have become invisible. And a lot of these folks have spoken out on a lot of issues on family values. Let me tell you something. There are a lot of blacks who believe in all the things you and I are talking about, Zeb, but when have conservatives reached out and said, hey, I have a platform. I would love to have you on my show, in my newspaper. I want to give you a platform so we can showcase what your values are. We're all across the country. I graduated from Oral Roberts University, Zeb, and one of the things Oral would always tell me was, go into every man's world and meet them at the point of their need. When have Republicans and conservatives got off their high horses and went into these black communities and just cultivated relationships? Don't talk down to them. Don't preach to them. Let's say, hey, let's go get a beer. I want to find out what's on your mind.
Well, I tell you what, Raynard, I've got a lot of respect for what you say here this morning, and it's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of toil, but I still think, and I think you'll agree with me, there are so many insidious forces behind the scenes that don't want to see a reparation of this problem. They just want to see the turmoil so they can keep lining their pockets. Agree?
I agree with you 1,000,000%. But again, we know what the problems are, Zeb. When are we in the movement going to say, okay, I may not be a Fox News channel, but in my own little small world, I have a media platform, and I'm going to scour the country to find folks who really believe that America is great, but yet America can be greater, and I'm going to do everything that I can to provide a platform, not to just people like me, Zeb, and I'm glad and I appreciate you having me on your show, but there are thousands and thousands of people like me all across the country. All we need to do is just give them a platform and invite them in, and guess what? We will make America great again for everybody.
You know, Raynard, final thought here. How did you manage to overcome a lot of obstacles and get where you are today? I mean, you really have a great personality, and you really are a forward thinker on this, but it must not have been very easy.
Oh, no. It was, and I grew up in St. Louis, Zeb, and if you're black and in St. Louis, you're a Democrat. That's just the way that you come out of the womb with that donkey on your butt. And it was only when I came back from Oral Roberts University after I graduated that I began to get involved with people like Jack Danforth, Roy Blunt, Kit Bond, and people like that. And President Bush 41 literally plucked me out of obscurity, asked me to chair his campaign in St. Louis, and brought me to D.C. And so I didn't realize when I was in college, Zeb, that the way I thought was called conservative. That's just the way I was raised. On Sunday, when I was home for weekends, I could go and hang out with my high school friends and go clubbing, Zeb. But so Sunday morning, my mother, the question she gave me Sunday morning was, boy, not are you ready to go to church, but boy, or have you gotten dressed to go to church? It wasn't an option, and so I didn't realize those things were called conservative values. I didn't realize that if I didn't obey an adult, I would get my butt smacked. I didn't realize that was called conservatism. And so a lot of blacks grow up like me, Deb. They just didn't know what that label that we later attached to called conservatism. And so, again, there are blacks like me all over the country. And if good people like you continue to reach out to us and have us on your platform, Deb, you're going to see that I am not an anomaly. And I have credibility in the black community, Deb, because I'm going to tell you something. When I see our party and our movement doing something that is truly racist, I call them out on it. I don't sit on my hands. But when they do things right, I praise them. But I'm not going to allow these liberals to call someone like you, Zeb, a racist, and they don't know anything about it.
One final One final thought, Raynard, and this just crossed my mind. I know it's a little bit off track, but I think you'll understand why I'm bringing it up. I honestly think that Congress right now is completely at fault for the problems that we have with our border that could be solved with just the basic signing of some simple laws that would strengthen, reaffirm the sovereignty of our country on our borders. But all of this is playing into the insurrection and the fractioning of America, and it also hurts you.
Oh, no question. Let me tell you something, Zeb. The single group that is biggest hurt by illegal immigration are low and unskilled blacks.
That's right.
And members of the Congressional Black Caucus here in D.C., Zeb, they do not represent the black community. They represent their membership, but not the black community. And I want your audience to understand, the NAACP represents their membership, but not the black community. There's a big difference between the two.
I certainly hope that you'll keep my name on file, and when I call you back to come on this program, you'll consent to do so. I've enjoyed our conversation, and I wish you extremely good luck. Thank you, Raynard.
Thank you, Zeb. Anytime.
All right, sir. Founder and chairman of Black Americans for a Better Future, Raynard Jackson, and I really am going to have him back on the program. Thank you very, very much. Wow, time for the weather. And the weather is changing for this weekend. Oh, it's going to cool down, and we're looking at some moisture. We'll have that in just a minute. The weather forecast is brought to you this hour by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. The number to call, 324-7657, or you can go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com. All the delicious meats, the marinated pork ribs, the tri-tips, all the steaks and everything, and the buckboard bacons and the breakfast sausages, and my favorite, the bratwurst. I love bratwurst. All of this and so much more by people that really care. Don Scarrow and his crew at Scarrows Meats in Jerome. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Expect some precipitation in the forecast for the next couple of days. And for today, that's not going to be any different. Mostly cloudy skies is in the weather, and then we are expecting scattered rain showers and thunderstorms by this afternoon. Some of those storms could produce gusty winds of about 30 miles an hour, but steady winds out of the south-southeast at about 10 miles an hour. We are expecting a high of 72. Tonight, those showers will continue with a low of 41, and then, of course, carry over for tomorrow. Expecting a high of 54. Rain showers likely for tomorrow night with a low of 37. Maybe by Saturday we'll see a little bit of sunshine. Calls for mostly sunny skies, but a chance of thunderstorms, and we are expecting a high of 61. And then for Sunday, 40 to 70% chance of showers, and expecting a high of 58. That's a look at your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch.
You know, I think you could sum it up into a real easy three-letter word for our weather forecast. Yuck. It doesn't sound real good. Oh, my goodness. The weather brought to you this hour by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Telephone number to call. Don and his great staff, 324-7657. And I urge you, I mean, you've got probably graduation ceremonies coming up, or maybe a family picnic or a business picnic, whatever it might be. Check out all the great meats at Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome, where they are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Good meats. That's going to do it probably for us this week. And a couple of things I want to remind you of before we go this morning. Next week on the program, we've got some real heavy hitters coming on regarding the economy and also regarding illegal immigration coming into this country. You don't want to miss that. And next week, of course, a full week for us. Next week on Thursday, lunch bunch at Denny's restaurant on the 23rd, so don't miss that. I had mentioned earlier this morning there are going to be some changes on the program that are not really going to affect anything other than the fact that on alternative Thursdays after the May 30th, starting on May 30th, Sharon Wilmot is going to be helping on occasion during the course of the summer months on into the fall on alternate Thursdays, to where she's going to run the program. Zeb Zeb at the Ranch with Sharon sitting around the ranch house table. And all the segments, everything's going to be the same, but she's going to be the guest host on alternate Thursdays to give Deanna and I just a little bit of time to take care of some other business and personal things that need to be addressed. So I want you to be aware of that. Also, a big thank you goes out to our Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with the best of tires for your cars, pickups, SUVs, horse trailers, boat trailers, whatever you need tires for. They've got the very, very best. And believe me, they know. They are all experts in tireology. I think they took a college course on that. They know what's going to be the best for you and your vehicle, so please stop in and see them today. The best in brake service, front end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries, all of this and more at all 7 locations of your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Trent on Overland in Burley. Yep, the best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. You are a fantastic audience. God's blessings to each and every one of you for all that you do, tuning in and coming up with questions on the program or comments. I really appreciate it. And we always say at the end of the program that the way things were are the way things ought to be, and the world needs more cowboys. Until next Monday at 8:06, Zeb at the Ranch on KBAR 1230 AM and streaming live on ZebBell.com all over the universe. Don't forget my blog, Cow Pies and Coffee Cups. Get that. We've got a great audience through our blog. And we'll see you next Monday at 8:06. God bless.